What up, y'all? Welcome back to another episode of B.O.P. This is your boy AD. Got my co-host in the building, C. Raw. What up, folks?
What's what's the day gone deal, man? How you doing, brother?
I'm
Merry
doing all
Christmas to
right.
you, man.
Merry Christmas to you too, brother. To you and the family. And shout
Yes,
out to our
sir.
boy Jules. Merry Christmas to him and his family as well.
Merry
Um,
Christmas, Jules, up there in that snow, baby. Up there in that good old
man,
snow. What's
out there
up,
making
Jules?
snow angels, ain't
Yeah, making
he?
that good snow money, man. You making snow money.
So,
Yeah.
we here on a Victory Tuesday, man. You know,
Victory
Victory
Tuesday.
Tuesday. The Houston
Yeah.
Texans actually pulled it out against the Tennessee Titans. What was it, 19-14? Pulled out a
Yes.
victory, man. They
Yes.
upset the Tennessee Titans, who right now is they like the Titanic. They a sinking ship, man. They going down and down and down and down. More than
Let them go
likely,
down, baby.
more than likely they lie to miss the playoffs. They gonna let Jacksonville take the division. Who we play next week on New Year's Day. So we're gonna talk about that a little bit later. But let's talk about
Yes,
this
sir.
victory that the Texans pulled out, man. What are your
Yeah,
thoughts?
man. My thoughts, brother, is like I say, man. Merry Christmas to you and your family, man. Merry
Thank
Christmas to
you.
all our followers and
Supporters,
folks that
man.
are supporters. Yeah, folks that are watching and tuning in. Merry Christmas to you guys. Happy holidays. Hug the one closest to you, man,
Hmm.
and love your family, brother.
Yes,
Um,
indeed.
we actually won a game, man. We actually won a game. Now, this is it's good that we won a game, but even in a win, we divided the fan base, man. What's going on, man? Yes, yes, we are happy that we had a victory. It feels good to have a victory, man. It feels all right to win a game, but don't get mad at those of us that are looking for our future and are thinking
Hmm.
about the draft picks coming up next year.
Hmm.
How does this victory affect these draft picks? Will it affect these draft picks? And does it even matter? That's what
Yeah.
we're going to talk about today. And I'll go back and say this real quick, AD.
Go ahead.
Um, I enjoyed watching the team play together. They played true complementary
Yes.
football. We stopped them on special teams. We
Hmm.
made big plays on defense, taking the ball away. We
Yep.
drove down the field with Davis Mills.
Hmm.
Davis Mills actually showed that he don't necessarily need Jeff Driscoll to help him out during these series.
Right.
He did pretty decent. Now let's curve that enthusiasm by some real truth. We were playing the Tennessee Titans backup players.
Yeah.
There was the JV squad. I don't know how many people they were missing. My understanding, AD, you can maybe call it out. It was like the
Maybe.
entire offensive line.
I think 3/5 of their offensive line was out.
Yep.
Both starting tackles, are out for the season. Ben Jones, the starting center, is out as well. So I think 3/5 of their offensive line were out, and then Ryan Tannehill, the starting quarterback, was out. And
Wow.
you know, it was reported that Jeffrey Simmons and Bud Dupree were gonna miss that game, but they actually played.
Right.
Which made that was the Achilles heel. Last game is that we couldn't move the ball against Tennessee at all,
Right. Do
and
you think those guys were at 100%?
not at all. But they
Right.
were out there, so they still were effective. Tennessee, still put up a hell of a fight on defense. I mean,
Yeah, they did.
it was a couple plays I thought, here we go. They dropped. I think they dropped two interceptions. One
Yes, they
one
did.
one of them should have been a pick six. All the
Yes.
way.
Right.
I think that was Zach Cunningham that dropped that one.
Right.
But just going over the stats, man, just looking at it right now, Davis Mills was 17 for 28, 178 yards, a touchdown and an
Woo,
interception.
178, baby.
178.
178. Oh my
Uh,
God, it's earth shattering. That's gonna shake up the world. We're gonna run 178.
look,
Oh,
look,
he's going to the Hall of Fame.
look, that they say don't forget that one touchdown. Don't forget that one
Yeah,
touchdown he had.
he did throw a touchdown,
He
didn't he?
threw a touchdown to our man Brandon Cooks, who
Yeah,
ended up Brandon
Yeah, he
Cooks.
threw one to Brandon Cooks,
Brandon
man.
Cooks
Oh,
had
Brandon Cooks.
four catches for 34 yards and a touchdown.
Yeah.
Um, Philip Dorsett, 3 catches, 45 yards. Jordan Akins, 3 catches, 39 yards, and then Amari Rogers, he with the catch of the game on that sideline. Now, to me, that was Davis Mills' best throw of the season.
All jokes aside, I hope we get to bring Amari Rogers back next
Yeah,
year.
a lot
I
of a
hope
lot
he's
of
got a spot.
of course, a lot of guys, him, Chris Moore, a lot of those guys
Yes,
have earned, to me, maybe not to others, but to me, they have earned at least to be
yes.
on the official, the original 90-man roster.
Bro, do you know who else earned their spot?
Who?
That boy Burkett, man. He saved the day. He
Let's
saved the
talk
day.
about the
Oh my God,
touchdown. There shouldn't have been a touchdown.
With how that song go? That old, it's the Raiders. The old Raiders song. Dum, 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 dum. Oh, he was scrambling. He made a left. He made a right cut. He shook off
Oh.
two defenders. He's going for the end zone, and he coughs it up in the end zone. But there's Rex Burkett in the end zone to save the
Johnny on the
day.
spot.
Johnny on the spot.
Hey,
I think Davis Mills wanted to give him that touchdown.
look,
He loves
him and
him,
Pep
man.
Hamilton.
Some Rex Burkett. They
Hey,
love some Rex Burkett,
him
bro.
and Pep Hamilton say, "Look, we lost this game against the Chiefs on this fumble forward. You know what? Let's dig into our bag and let's get a touchdown out of it. Let's go ahead and make this a play. You gonna
Rex, yeah,
scramble?
Rex, right?
You gonna
Scramble right.
scramble out?
You gonna
Scramble right
twist.
out, and you just gonna fumble it forward into the end zone. Let's make it
And Rex,
happen.
I don't want you to block, Rex. I don't want you to
No,
block
just
nobody.
stand out of
Just
bounds
stand
and
there.
wait for the ball to get there, and then jump on top.
It ran like perfection, man. Oh, Rex need a spot, baby. Rex to save the day. Oh, they would have gave Davis Mills the hell if he would have not got that ball, boy. He saved Davis Mills' day on that one. Davis Mills need to take him out to eat. I ain't gonna lie.
So
He need to take that boy out to eat. Oh, that was a wonderful. What
that
would
was
you call that play? The Mills flea flicker?
nah,
Oh my God, that was unbelievable. That
the
was
Mills
unbelievable, bro.
the Mills chest cold. Well, he coughing it up all the time. He coughing up.
Was it now? Can that is that truthfully is that a turnover? Is that but it's a fumble?
It's a fumble recovery for a touchdown. That's what it's marked as.
Fumble recovery as a touchdown.
They don't even have
The
Rex
yardage.
Burkhead. First of all, Rex Burkhead don't even have a stat line. Well, no,
But he
let me
got a
stop lying.
touchdown.
Let me stop
He got
lying.
a
He
touchdown.
got 2 catches for 7 yards, but he don't need that touchdown. Ain't even
Oh shit.
recorded. It ain't even
Oh
recorded.
Rex, man.
It's recorded
We
as a
gotta
fumble
bring
recovery. So
boy. Let's see, Rick's coming back just off of that play alone, man. But
look,
it just goes. It's crazy. It just goes to show that people need to sift through this. I know people are excited we won the game,
mm-hmm.
and we need to give credit to Davis Mills on the truth for standing in there, going 4 for 4, 69 yards
On
on the
that last
comeback
drive.
drive.
Mm-hmm.
He finally showed up in a pressure situation.
Mm-hmm.
And he does that like one game out of every 10 games.
Yeah.
And he did it this time. It would have been so much easier for us to laugh him off and make a joke about him.
Right.
But he did what he was supposed to do. That first throw or maybe the second throw to Dorsett, it looked like a
Mm-hmm.
jump ball. Like it kind of
Mm-hmm.
anybody could have caught that.
Right.
But other than that, those other throws were on point.
Yeah, he actually had time in the pocket.
Yeah.
And which is what he's had the last few games, like the last
That's
3 or
right.
4 games. He's had time in the pocket to deliver the ball. It's just, against Kansas City and Dallas, he just couldn't figure it out. But I guess against a lesser team in the Tennessee Titans, he was able to kind of get his confidence and his little mojo going. Shout out to Davis
Right.
Mills for
Yeah.
actually coming through. Now, if you would have did this in week 1, 2, and 3, when you had these same opportunities, we may be talking about we may be talking about you running it back with you for real.
Right.
If
And
you would,
that's a big point too because he had those opportunities in the weeks 1 through 5.
Mhm.
Right? If, no,
Yeah.
all jokes aside, he had these same opportunities that he had this week. He had those in week 5, week
Mhm.
1 through 5, and it just didn't come through. And I'm proud of him for coming through.
Mhm.
Doesn't mean that I want him as my main quarterback next year.
Right.
And I think that's was gonna yesterday Sunday's game is the type of game that'll have a bunch of the fans saying, see what I told you? He's our quarterback. He's the guy we need." And in reality, we tried to be that type of fan since the beginning of the season, if not
Yeah.
last year. And here's a big, and people say, no, you didn't, no, you didn't. Here's how you know that maybe almost 85 to 95% of the fans have been behind Davis Mills.
Mhm.
Nobody wanted us to take a quarterback last year.
Mhm.
Everybody was
We
screaming,
had
get
to
an
see. We had to
offensive
see it
line.
through. We had to see it
Yeah,
through.
we all said, let's get an O lineman, let's get a D line, let's get a DB, let's get a Derek Stingley. Nobody said go after one of the quarterbacks. And so that should tell people that we were in support of Davis Mills and we needed to see it. And unfortunately, it took until, what is this, week 16?
Yeah, it was week 16.
Yeah, week 16 to see what he
Yeah.
can do. And you just can't put all your marbles in on that type of
Well,
inconsistency.
well, the thing about it is, just looking back, I'm just scrolling through the Rolodex on the stats. He hasn't had
Right.
a game throwing over 200 yards passing since the New York Giants game, and I think that was like week 8 or something like that.
Yeah, that's
I think it was week 8 or 9. If I'm not, hold on, let me see. 16, 15, 14, 13, 12, 11. That was
and
week 10. That was week 10
that's
since, yeah,
week 10. Wow. That's unacceptable for any franchise.
yeah.
I don't care where
And,
you got drafted.
that was just, and even then, if you go before then, I'm looking at the stats now. I think I'm trying. You know what? Let me just pause for a second.
Sure.
we're gonna look at it because I'm
Take
really
your
trying
time,
to
brother. Take
put
your
this
time.
together, and I'm trying to put the math together, man. And I'm trying to look at it right now, and from what I see,
This was another
for
game, right? Keep going. This was another game where the offensive line didn't allow him to
yeah,
get touched.
oh yeah, so
They, what you got?
I'm looking at it right now. So we are in week 16. He started 13 games because Kyle Allen started 2 in
Two
13
of them.
games. In 13 games that Davis Mills started, he's only thrown over 200 yards 5 times.
Right.
So
That's
5 out of 13, he threw over 200 yards. And then people want to say about the offensive line, but even if you take the last 3 weeks,
right.
even with him splitting time with Jeff Driscoll, the offensive line is giving him as much time as needed against the
Plenty time.
Cowboys and against the Chiefs and
Yes.
against the Tennessee Titans, where he had
Yes.
a time and opportunity to
Yes.
he shouldn't have been rushed on any throws, shouldn't have been rushed, in his processing or anything like that. Because there wasn't really no pressure. There was only one sack given up this week,
Right.
one sack given up against the Chiefs last week, and I don't
Wow.
think any sacks were given up against Dallas. So
Correct.
you're looking at it where he really should have kind of thrived in these situations, but that's where we are. But
Right.
we're not gonna harp on Davis Mills too much because other players played really, really good games, and that was on the defensive side of the ball. Shout out to Christian Harris. I think he got his first career
Ooh.
interception
Yes,
this
sir.
game, and he had a
Yes,
hell of a
sir.
game. I mean, was all over the place. He's been flying around
Yes.
ever since he came, from injury, from that hamstring
Yes.
injury.
Ever since he's
He's
gotten in
been
that starting role.
right. He's been a shining, bright shining light on that defense, man, and
Yes.
it really
Yes.
kind of shows that they found a really good gem in the third round with
Right.
Christian Harris, man, and
Right.
he's gonna be one of our starting linebackers for the foreseeable future.
Hey, man.
Shout out to Jerry Hughes who had a
Oh yeah,
huh,
Jerry Hughes. Go ahead.
Jerry Hughes had a good game, but the one I want to talk about is Double O.
Double
Uh,
O.
Double
That's
O
right.
has
That's
been
right.
has really, to be honest, Double O has been balling for the last
Yes.
3 or 4 weeks. And
Yes.
Double O, man, I mean, I'm about to pull up his stat line for the
he
season,
he
man.
is so he knows how to bend that corner. That not double O for you guys is kind of hard for us to pronounce his
So it's
name.
Agbo Okoronkwo.
Right, and he
He's
is
a Houston
A-Leaf
native.
Taylor,
Yeah.
A-Leaf Taylor's finest. My
Mm-hmm.
kids graduated from A-Leaf Taylor. We used to live right behind A-Leaf Taylor.
Mm-hmm.
Nice gated community. We used to live right there behind A-Leaf Taylor, and he is just he stepped up and gave us what we
Mm-hmm.
need when other guys have been injured, when guys have been out, and
Mm-hmm.
he's really taken the helm. Him and Jerry Hughes to
Yes.
add pressure to teams where we thought we
Mm-hmm.
didn't have anybody to give us that pass pressure.
Yeah, Double
So
O
he's
ended
been
the game.
appreciated.
Oh, for sure. Double O ended the game with 2 sacks, and
Woo.
he has 4 sacks on the season, but he's got all 4 sacks in the last what 1 2 in the last 4 weeks. In the last four
And,
weeks,
and
he's gotten these 4 sacks.
I remember him getting a lot of pressures.
He
Just getting right to the quarterback and not quite
yes.
getting the sack, rushing the quarterback,
Mm-hmm.
making him make bad throws. I've seen
Mm-hmm.
him get sacks, and then that we've had penalties on us.
Mm-hmm.
So he's always in there. Him, Jerry Hughes, and then if I could add another guy, and he's a very young guy, and this kid shows up so much, it is Jalen Petrie, man.
Yes.
He he
Yes.
he
Talk
he
about
he,
it.
play, he plays football like he's been here before,
Mm-hmm.
and it's so amazing. And I say this because I don't want to pump him up too bad, but it's like he's never out of place.
Mm-hmm.
And when you say somebody make the tackle before you can finish your sentence, he's making the tackle.
Mm-hmm.
He feels holes better than
Yeah.
most of the safeties that I've seen,
Mm-hmm.
and he's not afraid of. He wasn't afraid of Derrick Henry.
No, but
I've seen him.
Derrick Henry did baptize him a little bit
He
on that
did.
on that on that long touchdown run that
He
he
gonna get
had.
everybody. I think that was his first awakening. He realized when he bounced off of Henry like that that I got
Mm-hmm.
to hit this boy a little lower,
Yeah,
maybe take his legs out.
yeah.
And that's what I've seen him start to do. He's there on pass plays. Now he's probably had a few interceptions that were called
Mm-hmm.
back from penalties
Mm-hmm.
and tip plays. He's always in the right position, and
Yeah.
he ended this game with an interception. And
Mm-hmm.
next time, young fella, go and run it back and rub it in, man. They're
No.
gonna do that to us.
Oh yeah,
Believe
yeah.
the Titans will do that to us. Go on, run it back 100 yards, go in the end zone, spike the ball, and
And,
snatch your helmet off,
and
and
talk your
let them
shit.
know. Yeah, talk your shit, man. But the young man is on fire, and we need 10 more guys like that, man.
Yeah,
We need 10 more
Jalen
guys like
Petrie.
that.
If I'm not mistaken, Jalen Petrie got his fourth interception of the year.
Wow, wow,
Which is really damn
tremendous for a
good.
rookie. Yeah.
Exactly, and for him, he's gotten these interceptions while playing both safety positions. He
Mm,
started out playing strong safety in the box,
mm.
and now he's transitioned into the free safety role, and he's thriving in it. He's thriving
Now
in it.
see,
Uh-huh.
Texans fans need to understand something. This is why we want to build a winning team
Mm-hmm.
because guys like Jalen Petrie and
Mm-hmm.
young guys like Christian Harris,
Mm-hmm.
Andre Johnson has spoken about it. And if we're being real with what he said was very true. The Texans have been known to waste careers.
Mm-hmm.
And I say that only because if we were a winning franchise this year,
Mm-hmm.
Jalen Petrie would be the defensive player of the year.
Oh, for sure. For
Right.
sure. Right.
I know they hype up Sauce Garner, they
Mm-hmm.
hype up all these other guys, but Petrie has probably
Yeah.
led tackles, and I don't know the
Right.
stats on it.
So I'm gonna tell you right now, Jalen Petrie has 126 tackles, one
That's
sack, and
ridiculous.
4 interceptions.
Now
Playing the
tell me that's not playing safety.
playing safety, 126 tackles. So for me,
Wow.
he should be all rookie,
All rookie.
all
Yep.
rookie, automatic.
Pro
First
Bowl.
team. Yeah, he should be a Pro Bowl alternate. I mean, he's been playing lights out. He is him and Christian Harris.
Right.
The fact that you got these guys, in the second and third round of this year's
Right.
draft. Then not even talking about Derek Stingley,
Well,
who
like you say, AD, the other last week, how hard is it for you to get 4 picks playing on a team who's always losing?
Mhm.
The offenses run the ball when they're ahead.
Mhm.
So he don't get many opportunities like these other guys to snatch interceptions because
Right.
teams are trying to run the clock out on us.
Right.
So this guy, man, Petrie has been balling. Christian
Mhm.
Harris has been balling. Don't let me forget my guy Laramie Tunsil, man,
Laramie
the
Tunsil.
big fucking diesel, man,
Mhm.
the big diesel, man himself, man.
Yeah.
Big Laramie Tunsil has been balling. I mean, he's faced all the outstanding left tackles and
Mhm.
the defensive players of the year, and he
Pro
shut them out.
Pro Bowl starter. Pro Bowl
Yeah,
starter. We the
Pro
worst
Bowl
team in
starter, man.
worst
Yes,
team
sir.
in.
Let's give
Yeah,
it up
give him
for
a
him.
hand clap,
Let's
man.
give it
Pro
up
Bowl
for him, man.
starter,
Let's give
Laramie
it up for him.
Tunsil, who was
Yes,
voted to the
sir.
voted to the Pro Bowl.
That's right.
Not only by the fans, but to me that shows the respect amongst his peers and the
That's
coaches,
right.
as well as other fan bases that
That's right.
voted him. All these three factors going to voting in the Pro Bowl. So shout out to Laramie Tunsil, who had a hell of a season. Who hopefully we get that contract done in all
Oh
season, and
yeah,
he's our
yeah,
left tackle of the future.
yeah.
Titus Howard, who played pretty well at guard.
Yes, Titus Howard. Pretty.
Titus Howard gets another hand clap,
Yes, sir.
and I think he went out with a concussion. Don't know
Yeah.
his status for this week
Yes,
upcoming, but
sir.
he played pretty damn well at guard, at left guard.
Yes,
Um,
sir.
you know, which
I
is
think there's some other guys too that deserve some accolades. There's one guy for sure. I mean, I know we spoke about Amari Rogers, and for him to come in here and jump in the slot position
mm-hmm.
and learn it and go through the system. Um, I know it takes the Texas 5 weeks to let somebody goddamn play, but at least he got in there. And the moment he got in there, he's been a factor.
mm-hmm.
Um, there's another guy that I think deserves some respect on his team, and he's a quiet assassin. He's anytime we're down a player or out of a player, even if we're not, and he comes in, he always performs, and that is Chris Moore.
Yes, yes.
He shows up, man, and shows out like Lovey
Mm-hmm.
says, and he asked for. That I really enjoyed him doing what he does. Steven Nelson is pretty much locked down the other side, opposite of Derek Stingley.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and there's quite a few other guys, but those guys for sure are some guys that I believe deserve a round of applause and
Yeah,
some respect for what they did this year in
and
such a rough rebuilding year.
yeah, and we we hear it all the time that the talent, we don't have the talent, we don't have the players. But the guys that we're naming off, these, yeah, they may not be high profile starters, but these are Chris Moore, Amari Rogers are great depth pieces.
That's right.
Steven Nelson would be a great third cornerback to have,
Oh,
in the rotation of cornerbacks. Tavier Thomas, who's been playing damn good, is a great depth piece in the secondary. These guys that we named, Jerry Hughes,
right.
who eventually, he's on his last leg. He probably has one more good year in him. But even still, on next year's team, if we were able to upgrade the DN position, he would be a great rotation defensive end piece,
That's
especially
right.
placing him there on passing downs. So those
They
those
say
things.
he's one of the best locker room guys
Oh
that our
yeah,
coaches have ever had too.
Everywhere he's been, you've
Yeah,
heard that from him. Whether it be
yeah,
Buffalo, Indianapolis,
that's right.
everywhere that Jerry Hughes has been, he's been always regarded as high character, great locker room guy. So it's a lot of pieces that we're putting together, and we're bringing these guys. I figured that most of these guys that we're talking about are going to be back on the roster again next year.
Yes,
Um,
definitely,
they've
definitely.
earned their spots. Like we say, Chris Moore, Amari Rogers, Steven Nelson, Jerry Hughes. All of these guys earned their way back to be back on this roster
So so
for the
can
next
we?
year.
So that should transition us into our next segment,
Mm-hmm.
which is running it back, right?
So
Running it back. How the Texans fans see what does running it back look like to you?
To me,
Running it back. Now, yeah, running it back. And let's frame this up. Let's give this some context. In our fan base,
hmm
we have went through a 1-12 season, 1-12-1 to start off,
hmm
and we played the last few weeks. We played a couple of pretty close games
hmm
with the Chiefs and the Cowboys,
hmm
and a lot of the Texas fans are happy with that. I was
hmm
very pleased with the competing and the competition that we
yes,
provided without getting the victories at the end of the year.
hmm
Okay, so let's frame this. There is a faction of the fan base who believes that we should think of that at this point at 1-12-1, now 2-12-1,
hmm
that we should think about our future. And our future includes securing the number one overall draft position,
hmm
not only for the first round, but for all 7 rounds.
all 7 rounds.
Now, securing that position to some of us is more important than winning a few meaningless end of the season games,
hmm
right? We're not asking our team to tank. We're not asking our team to lose these games on purpose. But the idea of feeling like winning against the, you know, the JV team of the Titans
hmm
without a starting quarterback, without the offensive line, getting a big, meaningless win is more important to us than securing the number one overall pick.
hmm
And then there's another faction of our fan base who believes that, how should I put it, that winning these games is more important at the end of the year than getting the number one pick. Now, my question is, are those people that are saying that because they want to continue to run with Davis Mills, and so they don't care about the number one overall pick, and they
hmm
want to run it back with Davis Mills? And is the other group that is saying that they want to concentrate on the draft order, securing the number one pick? Are they talking about running it back with the quarterbacks such as Bryce Young or C.J. Stroud or Will Levis?
hmm
So,
Yeah,
what does running backs look like to you?
for me, running it back is bringing everything that encompasses this, whatever the record may be. We're at least gonna have 12 losses and a tie. So even if we were to win out, you're talking about a 4-12-1 team, or a 3-13-1 team, or a two, what is it, 2-14-1 team.
Right now,
Mm-hmm.
four. What is it? If we win out, that'll put us at 4,
Which your
12, and
matches, 1, yeah,
which
with your match.
most likely will put us in fourth and give us the fourth draft position, picking at number 4.
Right. And that running it back for me is bringing back Lovey, bringing back Pep, bringing back Davis Mills as your starting quarterback, running everything that you have right now that produced the dismal record that we have, bringing all of that back, and then saying let's go another year with it, and with the draft picks, and see if we can win. Instead of winning 2 or 3 games, let's see if we can win 4 games next year.
Do
You
you have any
know,
of those goofy clown sound effects or anything?
man, I wish it's
Come
coming
on, man.
soon. It's
So
coming
that so
soon.
that so that's what running it back means to a lot of
That
people.
and the reason why because remember we talked about this earlier in the year on the
Right.
episode, when the narrative was then is that you're not giving Lovey or Pep a chance
Mm.
because of what you put around them.
Right.
But next year, supposedly, we're not going to be incrementally better. We're only going to
Right.
be a smidget better. Just if you
Right.
just basing it on draft picks, we'll
Right.
be we'll have either another quarterback or a defensive lineman, whatever. 2 first round picks and 5 picks in the top 3 rounds. You talking about those picks, and then you're adding John Mechie. Yeah, the team talent wise may be better, but then you're still relying on rookies and everything like that, which is why this year we were so bad because we relied on the Kenyon Greens, we relied on the Derek Stingleys, we relied on the Jalen Petries and Christian Harrises of the world because we're lack of talent, but you have to give grace to the rookies because they're going to make mistakes. Kenyon Green hasn't had the best rookie year. He started out great, then he kind of had that hard left turn, where he
Right.
went wrong. But
It's called the Washington Commanders.
right, it's called the New York Giants. It's
The new, it's
called
called
Philadelphia
the
Eagles.
Philadelphia Eagles.
I mean,
It's
he had
called
a
all the bad motherfuckers in the NFL all in 4 weeks in a row.
yeah. So I mean, he
Yeah.
had that turn. So Christian
But
Harris
but
has
but
made his
but
mistakes. Jalen Peters has made his mistakes. So I
right.
mean, you have to let that play out because if you're relying all on rookies and second year players, you're gonna be really really bad. You're gonna be
Right.
really really bad if that's who you're relying on. So I've
I
always
guess
been
I
a
guess my
go ahead.
thing is I say it like this, and I'll just be upfront with my opinion, and it's totally my opinion. It doesn't reflect a BOP's complete opinion. We all can share our opinions and not be ridiculed about it.
Mm-hmm.
Um, when I look at our franchise, I'm thinking of gaining ground on the rest of the NFL. I know that we were there at one point when we had Watson and DeAndre and Watt and Clowney. We was almost there at the right place to start being a true Super Bowl contender, and it all
Mm-hmm.
went south. We know through Bill O'Brien or whatever, and we started all over, right? So I want to go forward. I want to go forward. So how I look at my team is when I see these guys play, I ask myself, are they Super Bowl type players? Are they
Mm-hmm.
playoff contending type players? And when I see a Petrie, and when I see a Christian Harris, and when I see a Laramie Tunsil, and
Mm-hmm.
when I see guys like that, and when I see even role players like
Double
what's
O.
his like
Double.
Double O
Mm-hmm.
and guys like that, when I
Mm-hmm.
see these guys that can fill in the holes, but then when I turn around and I look at guys like, dare I say, a Davis Mills, some, who is at the most important position in the franchise,
mm-hmm.
and I've given him 2 years. I watched him for a year and almost 11, 12, or 13 games,
Mm-hmm.
and he just doesn't tell me that he's a franchise quarterback.
Yeah.
If people keep saying, well, give him an old line, give him a new coach, give him a this, give him a that, if he has to have everything perfect for him to be the man, then
Mm-hmm.
he's not the man,
Yeah.
right? And I hate it for him because he did come into a bad, rough situation. But
Mm-hmm.
that's when elite players shine the most.
Mm-hmm.
When they're in the darkest situations, they shine the most. And
Yeah.
I haven't seen it on a consistent basis, and I don't want to live another year with him. I don't mind Lovey, but Pep Hamilton has. It seems like he's trying to grow too,
Yeah.
and he's learning as he goes, just like Davis Mills. I don't see that as franchise
Well,
sustaining.
this is the thing, and I've always stated this. You heard me say it on Spaces. You heard me say it on the chats on Twitter. When you make these hires of a David Culley and a Lovey Smith, you know that these aren't the coaches of the future.
Right.
You know that Lovey Smith, at the very most, was going to be here 3 years,
A
three at the
stopgap.
at the very most. And then at
Right.
that point in time, you're saying, well, we're done with the rebuild. Now we're going to hire a coach that's going to take us to the next level. At that point in time, you don't hire a first year head coach to take over that position and try to take you to the playoffs. At that point,
Right.
you're going to be more inclined to hire someone of a Lovey's caliber
Right.
or somebody
Correct.
who's a veteran coach who would be able to take a veteran team to a higher level. Whereas in this situation, it's like they're doing it backwards.
They
It's
do
like
it backwards.
you want to hire these older coaches who short term bridge coaches, and then let's go ahead after the fact. Let's hire our young gun for a coach or whatever like that. Um,
Yeah,
you know,
it's just crazy because I believe everybody knew when Lovey got hired it was short term.
yeah.
They knew it was. I mean, even the people, even some of us that were pulling for Lovey and supported Lovey from the very beginning, we said, well, maybe in a couple of years he'll coach for 2 years and then he'll move up into the front office.
Mm-hmm.
And some people, I didn't say this, but some people said, yeah, and then he hired Pep, and Pep's just a head coach in waiting.
Mm-hmm.
Pep will move up into be the head coach.
Look,
Lovey will move up into the front office.
look. I
Oh,
had
how they
high.
got that wrong.
I look. I'm the one.
Was you
I'm the
one of them
one.
guys?
I was the one
You was
that was
one of them.
preaching.
Okay.
That was preaching that Pep Hamilton, was put because they put this, all telltale signs
Right.
pointed to Pep Hamilton being the head coach of the future
Right.
because they put him in the head coach accelerator program, which the NFL instituted this off season. They
Right.
put him in there because that program is specifically designed
For
to
African
make to
American quarterbacks,
who's ever
yeah,
in that
to
program is
get
gonna be a
pushed
head
up.
coach. Yes, they're
Right.
gonna be pushed up to be a head coach.
Well, I didn't see it like that.
Yeah,
I just I mean, my question about Pep was, what has he ever done?
yeah.
When he first got here, my biggest question was, yeah, I love the brother that he got a chance, and that's
hmm
good. But literally, what has he ever done? And people
and
say, well, he helped Luck out, and he helped Herbert. I
mm-mm,
think to myself, Herbert and Luck was going to be NFL starting quarterbacks when they was like
regardless.
4 years old. When they threw the first football in their diapers, and their daddy was like, "Look at this boy."
hmm
They knew that he was going to be a superstar quarterback. Now,
Yeah,
saying that, my thinking about the Texans was, and it's messed up that it's going this way, was like you said one time. I think you brought it to my attention. You said, Chris, man, you remember when last year we had David Culley and the Miami Dolphins fired Brian Flores.
hmm
And the same day that they fired Flores, we fired David Culley.
hmm
The very next day, we did an interview with Brian Flores.
hmm
And Brian Flores wanted to get the Giants job, didn't get it, turned it
hmm
down, sued the NFL, and we were stuck without a coach because
hmm
we really wanted Brian
Brian
Flores.
Flores. Brian Flores is supposed to be our coach, and
That's what I agree with that. And so what I'm saying that is to say now this year that we know we're gonna fire somebody this year. It's sad that it's Lovie Smith because
hmm
it should have been David Culley.
yeah, it should
We
have been
should have
David Culley this year, going
right,
in for a second year with Lovey being a DC and Pep Hamilton being the OC. That was supposed to be the plan going into this year. But like I said, and like you just stated, the Brian Flores firing caught everybody off surprise, caught the whole league off surprise because
right.
that team was just had a winning record and they fired Flores, and
I
it
think Casario was like, "There goes my guy."
that's his guy, and that's who he wanted. And at
Right,
the time, I don't think many and anybody would have been upset with the Brian
right.
Flores hiring, even though there's
Correct.
been reports coming out and saying he was just terrible,
Hard
terrible
to work
dude,
with.
terrible, to be around, everything like
Right,
that. But at the end of the day, that timeline is just too coincidental for Miami to fire Brian Flores one day, the
right,
next day, David Culley is fired. And then the following day, Brian Flores is
right.
interviewed by the Houston Texans. That's just too much. That's too much coincidence. That's too
Ain't
much.
that much coincidence in the world.
Right. It's,
No,
so
knowing that Casario comes from the New England
New
tree,
England tree. And he
and,
knows
and same
Flores
with
very
Brian Flores.
well.
They knows Flores very well, and I think that was the turn at the. I mean, that was the decision that he made because he thought, bam, now I don't have to, God bless David Culley. I don't
Mm-hmm.
have to deal with David Culley no more. I can
Mm-hmm.
go get a guy that really can lead me into my future.
Mm-hmm.
I love his defense and everything that he does. But then when that didn't go through, I think Lovey saved his day by having a quality coach to step into place.
Yeah.
But that I say that, like I said before, I say that to say this, that I believe that Cully would have been fired this year.
Mhm.
And so now when people say, do we run it back? Do we keep Lovey? I believe whoever the coach was going to be fired this year anyway.
Yeah.
And he was going to find the guy that he really wants. So, and the crazy part is Lovey does have his team playing good for him.
Mhm.
These guys are playing outstanding for him, but I'm not with bringing Pep back. I'm sorry. I'm not with Davis Mills running it back with Davis Mills. He has proved to me that he is too inconsistent.
Mhm.
Uh, we've seen that he makes bad throws, bad decisions, and I've still yet to see an elite trait from him. And it
Yeah.
takes elite quarterbacks to win Super Bowls. I'm
Yeah.
sorry, Texas fans. Now, I want to lose the rest of these games, and the reason why I want to lose the rest of these games is because I believe that that number one pick puts us in the optimal position
Mhm.
to select whoever we want. I'm a
Mhm.
Bryce Young fan. I think Bryce Young can get it done.
Yeah.
If you're a Jalen Carter fan and you think we need a D line, guess what? You better want the number one overall pick because if
Mhm.
Chicago get it, they taking
He
Jalen Carter.
gone.
He gone.
Hashtag he gone.
Hashtag he gone. And if
So.
he's not gone, right?
Mhm.
And if you, I mean, most people want Jalen Carter. I mean, not most people. Some people want Jalen Carter. Most
Mhm.
people want Bryce Young.
Mhm.
Most people understand the importance of getting a quarterback, and I think the guy has proved over a long 2-year college career that he can handle the rigors of playing in the best conference with
Mhm.
all the athletes that make it to the NFL or in the SEC. He's competed with the best. He's never faltered. He's been poised, confident, a
Mhm.
leader. He's been accurate. Has anticipation throws. He gets the ball out of his hands so quickly that he might not need the best blockers in the world. You
Mhm.
get that young man some targets and some receivers, and he's going to throw that ball all over the yard.
Mhm.
Most people say, well, what scares me about Bryce Young? What scares most people about Bryce Young is his size,
Mhm.
right? But I give you this: Drew Brees played at his size. Mike Vick was 5'11", smallest hands in the draft.
Mhm.
Um, there's other guys that played at his size and made it to the Hall of Fame. The way he gets the ball out of his hands, it will eliminate a lot of those hits.
Mhm.
And so I just think that that's the best thing to do for the Texans, and then you build around that.
Mhm.
I don't think Davis Mills is the guy that you build around.
No, and we all know that, man. I think the fan base is as wild and crazy as it can be. Most of our fans, most of the Texans Twitter, most of the Texan fans understand that Davis Mills is not the future. You can tell by the way that the conversations have gone is that let's not take a quarterback this year, let's take one next year. Let's okay, well, let's not take Bryce, let's take Anthony Richardson.
Yeah,
These conversations and the narratives have changed so much that the Texan fan base knows that Davis Mills is not the future at the quarterback position for the
correct.
Houston Texans. So, I
I
mean,
got you.
you look at all of these different players that you have, but the key thing about picking one overall is that you dictate the draft. The draft doesn't dictate you.
Right,
So you
and that's each
dictate.
round.
Yeah, that's each round you dictate it, and then you have two first round picks, so you can do even more
Woo.
dictating. Like
Yes, sir.
you can say, well, I'm gonna pick this type of player here. I'm gonna pick this quarterback. I'm gonna pick this defensive tackle, defensive lineman here, and at the second pick, which possibly could be another top 10 pick, I can take my quarterback there if I want it.
And if
You
Nick
know.
Casario, I'll say this: if Nick Casario is not sold on Bryce Young or whoever at number one, if
Hmm.
somebody comes along and offers him three firsts, guess what? All them Deshaun Watson picks just keep adding up,
Hmm.
and they keep adding up. Each one of them get three more picks out of that, and now we're really building the team. We're really building the
So
team.
so this is the
Yeah.
thing. This is the thing. If you're going to trade the number one overall pick, it needs to be worth it.
Yes.
And to me, You said
What
three
is
or
what is
three.
worth? I
To
say
me,
three. I say three first and a second.
I say to me three first, three additional first. Let
Three
me let me
additional.
say that three
So,
additional first. I have to clarify because when you say first round picks,
right.
I don't want to say that swap. I don't want to. I'm not counting that
You're not
swap.
counting that one.
I'm not counting that
Ooh, that's a
swaps.
lot of picks, Ad.
That's an additional three,
So you want so if you
and
trade
then
down from 1 to 10, you want pick number 10 plus three more first.
plus three, the next three first that you have in the next
Mm,
not the same. I don't need two first from this year.
mm,
I need you to swap the first you have, and then
mm,
give me three more additional year first.
mm.
So you in 24, 25, and 26. That way we have two first round picks. At the
All the
end of the
way
day,
down.
we'll have two first round picks for 5 years in a row.
So you wouldn't take an additional two picks this year.
No,
Well, who nobody really has it.
no,
Who had
because at the end of the
only the
day, all
Eagles and the Lions.
yeah, the Eagles, Lions, well, not the Eagles, it's the Lions, and it's the
The
Seahawks.
Eagles.
The
The
Seahawks,
Eagles got it
Eagles have
too.
yeah, the Eagles have two, but it's the Eagles, Seahawks, and
Seahawks.
Lions
Oh
who
yeah,
have
the Seahawks.
who have two first round picks.
Yeah.
I'm not I'm not enthused by making a trade for two additional first round picks when at the end of the
Mm.
day all you're going to do is use those same picks to trade up in the draft anyway.
Right,
So
right.
you're gonna like you trade down and use. Let's say you trade with the Lions, and the
Mm.
Lions are picking. I think because the Rams won, so they may be picking 7 or 8 right now. So you're talking about the
Mm.
7, 8 pick and like the 14th pick. You trade
Right,
down to 7, and you got 7. Now you have 17, 7, 8. Because no telling what a Cleveland pick is. Well, let's say
right.
7, 10, and
And
14,
14. Right,
and you got those picks.
right.
You're going to trade
One
up.
of those picks down.
You're going to
You're
trade
gonna
up.
trade up.
You're going to
You're gonna
trade
try to
two of
come
those.
back.
You're going to trade two of those picks, whether it be 7 and 10, to get back into the top five,
Mm.
and then you're
Well,
going.
that's the and see that's the thing about it,
It's
AD.
just a lot of movement. It's a lot of
It's a lot of
movement,
movement, and
and
you push yourself out of the sweepstakes for the original top five talent.
right.
Because after me personally, after Bryce Young, after Will Anderson, after Jalen Carter, after Tyree Wilson, everybody
You
else
going
is
too far down the list when you say Will Anderson, but we'll talk about that
well,
another
yeah,
time.
yeah. I was
we'll
just trying
talk,
to throw him out there, man.
you
But
know.
after Jalen Carter and Tyree Wilson, and I'll throw Will Anderson in there.
Hmm.
After those guys,
Hmm.
everybody else is just kind of all the same level of player, and they're a step down from those guys.
Hmm.
So you could from picks 5
Six,
on down,
yeah,
yeah, six
five and
on
six on
down.
down, yeah.
Those six all the way to 20 something, you're just getting whatever player fits you the best.
Hmm.
It's not like it's not like
Well,
Michael Mayer is going to be better. It's
add
not going to
add
be as good as Brian Brissy because
hold
Brian
on
Brissy ain't even that good.
for those UT fans, man. Go ahead and add Bijan on that list of special talents that
Yeah,
you're
you got
not
to
going.
put him up there.
You're gonna put Bijan in there. For all y'all. Shout out to Swan and Mike and all y'all Bijan. Bishop, all y'all Bijan. Y'all pushing that Bijan narrative for
Yo,
that
B
second
Jites.
person. Yeah, Bijan, man, y'all. He's one of those special talents that that after the beat, like you
Right.
said, Tyree Wilson, Bijan, Jalen Carter, Will Anderson, Bryce Young. After that, to me, there's no difference
Yeah.
between a CJ Stroud and a Will Levis and Anthony Richardson. Yes,
Right.
CJ Stroud, the ups that CJ Stroud has
It's just about
are the
preference.
downs that Will Levis and Anthony Richardson have, but the traits that the Will Levis and Anthony Richardson have, CJ
Right.
Stroud does not have.
Do not have it.
Does
He
not
doesn't.
have. I think Will
That's
Levis,
right.
the running ability and the elite arm talent for both of those guys, Levis and Richardson, kind of outweigh whatever CJ
Yeah.
Stroud brings to the table.
Their ceilings is
Um,
much higher.
yeah, their ceilings are very, very much higher. and that's just the quarterbacks. Then you go down and you talk about who are the next best players, and I brought that up on a question on Twitter. Who after these top prospects that we all talk about, what
Who
else
really
is
are?
there? Who
Yeah.
who else are we talking about? Who else is there another defensive player? Because like you said, you brought up Brian Breesy. You talked about what's his name, Murphy.
Yeah,
Um,
they just
they're
disappear
they're
on
they're,
tape.
they're players. They're
Yeah,
just they're guys.
Jags.
Yeah,
Just another guy.
right.
I'm
And
sorry to say that to them young guys, but they don't jump off of the film at you. Like
mm-hmm,
those other guys, when you turn on the film and you look at Jalen Carter,
Carter. Mm-hmm,
you automatically notice him. Oh
yeah,
my God, who was that? Rewind that. But
right.
like Brian Breesy, Miles
Miles
Murphy,
Murphy.
even
Yeah,
Felix, the guy
yeah.
from
Kansas State.
Kansas
Yeah.
State, um,
I mean,
the
they're to
guy
me,
from what is the guy from Baylor, the big nose
Saki.
tackle, Saki, yeah,
Yeah.
him.
Yeah,
Um,
they all of those guys are they're to me they're better valued in the second round than they would
they
be in the
are.
first round.
That's excellent.
And then you look at you got a cornerback Kelly Ringo,
Yeah, he
Keely
gets burnt
Ringo.
a lot.
And then you look at Trenton Simpson, who I think would be a excellent piece to add with the
A
second
second
with
round
the
pick though.
well, no, I
He's
mean I
definitely.
could see him
You
with a
talking about the
later.
linebacker?
I would take him with the later
Oh
first.
no, I
He
wouldn't.
to me he's that talented of a player that
Nah, brother.
I
I'm sorry. I had a different view of him. I wanted to select him at first, and then I
mm-hmm,
went back and watched his tape,
mm-hmm.
and I don't know. He's good. He just looks like a hybrid safety to me.
Yeah, he fits in that mold of what's the guy that plays for Arizona? Um
Simmons,
Simmons. He fits in that Isaiah, and ironically they both came from Clemson.
right? Exactly.
He fits
Exactly.
that mold, but I know we talking about the draft and everything like that, but it's a whole conversation we're gonna have, and we're gonna do some
Yeah,
in
we'll do
depth.
some more about that.
We're gonna do some in depth on the player develop, on the players and kind of watching film. We're gonna have these episodes where we're watching film on these prospects. Gonna watch
Right.
these condensed games and kind of highlight and look at the players and who we plan on who we will want to take in the future. Um, but moving on, man, we talked about the
Yes,
game
sir.
against the Titans. We talked about the draft positioning.
Yes,
We
sir.
talked about running it back.
Yes,
Let's talk
sir.
about the game on New Year's Day. The Houston
New
Texans against the
Year's Day.
Jacksonville Jaguars,
Yes, sir.
Sunday at noon.
Yes,
Do
sir.
does Jacksonville rest their starters because this will essentially be a meaningless game?
I think that head coach is a
Doug,
different type of head coach.
yeah, I don't think Doug Peterson
Believes in
risk.
that
Yeah,
philosophy.
I think that you at this point you have to create as many opportunities to make the playoffs as possible, because if Jacksonville wins out, they still have a possibility of making the playoffs as a wild card,
Right.
let
Correct.
alone the division.
Right.
Let's say
Correct.
they beat the Texans and they lose against the Titans, they
They
still
can
have a
still be in
realistic
position.
chance of making the playoffs.
Is that true? Because everything I've been
Yes.
hearing is this game doesn't matter to them.
Well,
Not to them personally, but to the experts are saying that that they could lose this game and it wouldn't matter. They just have to win the next game.
the reason
Uh,
why it wouldn't
thank
matter,
you, Granny.
the reason
Thank you, Granny.
the reason
Yeah.
why it wouldn't matter is because they would win the division to make the playoffs. Right
Mm,
now, you're looking at Jacksonville at 7-8, and on the bubble, the other teams that are on the bubble. Look at Miami, who's 7-8, who's holding down that seventh
mm,
spot. And
mm.
with Tua, breaking news with the Tua going in concussion protocol, he may be done for the season, and the playoffs if they make the playoffs. But you're looking at Miami at 7-8. You're looking at the Jets at 7-8. You're looking at the Titans at 7-8. You're looking at the Steelers at 7-8. So it's all of these teams are fighting for,
They are.
and the Patriots are 7-8. So you
And
look at the
speaking of that, speaking of our conference, Mike White is going to be
yes,
starting, right?
yeah, Mike White is starting this Sunday for the Jets. So they, if the Jets went out, who they were almost considered to be, dogs, but Miami has
Right.
fallen apart. Miami hasn't won a game since they beat us 4 weeks ago.
And
So
speaking of Miami, Tua Tagovailoa
yeah,
is in concussion protocol for the
yeah,
second time this season.
yeah, and he's
Said he was having concuss symptoms
symptoms during the
today.
game. Yeah.
Yeah, well, no, today, even after the game.
Well, you can tell after he had a hit. I think somebody posted on Twitter it was a hit he
Mm,
took where his
mm,
head bounced off the turf, and then after that he
mm.
threw 3 interceptions. So he,
Oh, poor
so
guy, man.
I
Poor
mean,
guy.
that
He
to
just
me, I
falls
think,
wrong, man.
yeah, I think that kind of ends his season. Even the playoffs, that kind of
Yeah,
ends it for him.
right.
Um, that's
And
why I say
they don't have a first round pick, right?
no. They have, I think they have the Kansas City one, but
Oh, they do.
the other one they forfeited.
Okay.
So, but just looking at it, I'm like I said, Miami's at 8-7, the Patriots at 7-8, Jets at 7-8, Titans at 7-8, Steelers at 7-8, and the Jaguars at 7-8. So let's say they beat us and they're 8-8, and they
Mm,
lose against the Titans, they're 8-9. There's a chance that Miami loses out.
right.
The Patriots may lose another game. The Jets may
Right.
lose another game, and now you're looking at all these teams at, because I don't think the Titans are winning next week either because Derrick Henry is down with an injury. So they lie to lose next week as well. So you're looking at
So yeah, it benefits them to go ahead and play this week. Plus,
mhm,
when they're having such a good win streak right now,
yeah. You
they've
don't want to
beaten
lose
some
the
good
momentum.
teams.
You don't
Right,
want to
you don't
lose the
want to lose the
momentum.
momentum. And I think that what is his name, Doug Peterson? I
Hmm.
think he is the type of guy. I think he is the type of guy that literally is a browbeater. He's the type of guy that
Yeah.
he doesn't take his foot off of the gas, and I
Hmm.
think that's what he does. Now, if they're losing going into the fourth quarter,
Then he may rest some guys.
he
It
may
all
rest some
depends.
guys.
But if
Right,
they have even if they, I think if they have a substantial lead at halftime or in going
correct.
into the middle of the third quarter, he may sit some
A few
players, but
players.
I don't see them saying, "Oh, let's sit all our starters because we got it made." And then you do that, and then you come into a game that you have to win,
And you got to
and
ramp them back up
you lay an
again.
egg, and now
Yeah.
it's like, well, why did we? The fan
Why?
it's like,
Right.
why did we sit our starters? If we would have won that game, we had, because if the let's be honest, if the Titans lose and the Jaguars win, even if I'm doing my math, I'm looking at my math. Yeah, the tight they will.
Is your math mathing?
It ain't mathing, man. It ain't
It ain't
mathing.
mathing.
It ain't mathing
From
for me.
my from, don't worry, bro. Cause like from my understanding, that this game don't count for the Jags. Like
Right.
no matter how we math it, no
Hmm.
matter what happens in this thing, that the way that the Jags, because from my understanding, the Jags would never get in as a wild card. That's
Yeah.
from my understanding.
Yeah,
The only way for them to get in
it's through
is
the
for them,
division.
and that is to beat Tennessee in Week
Right.
18.
Right.
So
And
this week don't really matter to them. But I don't think they would rest. Why would you rest
right.
anybody unless they're injured?
But
Unless
I
they're
don't. But
injured,
I don't see them having a lot of injuries. I know they had a defensive. I think the
yeah, I don't.
linebacker, the
I think they
linebacker
said
got
they was the
injured.
least injured team in the
Yeah. So
NFL.
they're not really
Yeah,
holding on to really a lot of injuries, man. And I just think Jacksonville, will go ahead and play because we beat Jacksonville 5 straight times.
right, right.
So I mean, like even last year when we were
Uh,
the number 3 team, we beat Jacksonville twice. Two out of
oh.
4 wins came against Jacksonville. Two our wins this year. One of them came from Jacksonville, and the other one came from
Jackson.
Tennessee. The
Now
Texans
here's a
can only beat the division. They can't beat
that
nobody
that
else
I
but
was
the
gonna
division.
say. I was gonna say that to AD. Like I think I heard somebody say we can have a 4-1 record against the
Yeah, that
division. I mean, is
to
it to
me.
play devil's advocate? Is it Is those
That's
bragging rights right there big enough to lose the number 1 overall pick?
all I got to say is that Bill Cosby clip. I wish I had it loaded up. Ain't this about the dumbest thing I
The
ever heard?
dumbest thing I ever heard. Sit your
Like,
dumb ass down.
like,
What the hell?
like, hold on, does having the best record in the division get you to make the playoffs?
It don't get you
No.
nothing.
So what are we doing? What are we doing here, people? What are we
Well, you
doing,
big,
man?
what Fred Sanford say?
You big
You
dummy.
big dummy.
Like,
You, and that motherfuckers be on Twitter just tweeting that shit out. Yeah,
like
we playing for a moral victory. I say, what the fuck is a moral victory? What is
like
that, like
that's
spiral?
look.
It's like
That,
spiral macaroni and cheese, nigga. What the fuck?
you post that, you do stuff like that to motivate the team to play these last two games.
Them niggas
But
going home. Them
but
boys
they-
going home in a few days, man.
Yeah,
Ain't
that's
no
what you
moral
do.
victory.
That's what you do to try to motivate them to
Bro.
actually put in the effort.
Bro.
But in reality,
Bro.
man, for the fans, we should not be caring about these last two
About
games.
these last two games.
Like, let us.
If us winning these games made you more of a fan, then you wasn't never no fan to
in the
begin
get-go.
with, man. These boys is, I'm telling you something. These boys is millionaires, man.
Mm-hmm.
These boys is strategizing vacation routes, where they gonna meet up with each other. How long do they asking the young brothers asking the old cats, how long do I take off before I start working out again?
Right.
Where we all meeting up? We got to get together and go. You know, they not where. Come on, bro.
There's so many plane tickets being booked for Cancun right now.
Oh man,
in Mexico and the Virgin Islands.
They done ordered their
Jamaica.
favorite swimming trunks and then order watches, new underwater watches and shit. Oh man, I'm sitting here watching the Colts game and half them boys checked out.
Yeah.
You know. Man, so, we should not be worried about that, Texas fans. Let it go, bro. Let it go.
At the end of the day, I'm predicting a Texas loss. We're going to lose this game. Texas going to lose this game. Jacksonville is going to prevail. And at the end of the day, that's going to almost solidify us having the number one overall pick.
I'm going to do what you did the other day. I think you predicted us to beat somebody. I'm gonna go the opposite because I know every time I say we need to lose, these niggas win. Pep Hamilton pull out a new offense out his ass, and we got 4 interceptions and shit. I'm gonna say this: I don't want us to win these next 2 games, but I have a feeling we always have the Jags number.
Yeah.
If we can't beat nobody, we can beat the Jags.
Beat the Jacksonville Jaguars.
If we ain't got no quarterback, we can beat the Jacksonville Jaguars. Matter of fact, the last time I remember us losing to Jacksonville was when David Gerard threw that Hail Mary in the end zone. And that was the last time I remember them beating us. Oh, my God. We can never lose against them. I don't understand it. We've had Rosenhaus. We've had David Carr. We've had
Tony Banks, like
we don't never lose against them.
Ryan Mallett, we don't want him. Ryan Mallett, and Brian Hoyer, Brian Fitzpatrick,
and I think you know what? I think the division is playing us for damn dummies anyway. Goddamn Tennessee gonna line up all their backups against us. No, damn well we want the number 1 draft pick. Jags finna take the week off. Because they know we want the number 1 draft pick. And come week 18, only person, they might not even have nobody even. They might just forfeit the game in Indianapolis.
They running out Nick Foles at quarterback.
They got Nick Foles. Come on, bro. They like, man, these Texans about to get them a quarterback. Let's go and let them win these last 3 games. So they
while we playing around.
Yeah.
Indy could jump us in the standings and get the quarterback.
Jump us. Indy is right there. We might pick number 1 and they pick number 2. They might pick number 1 and we get number 2, bro.
Indy may jump us and then they got the quarterback and then we like, oh shit.
Do you think the Indianapolis Colts fans are worried about tanking?
Hell no, they already signed up for it. They talking about which quarterback we want. They
said the only fan base that be playing these old morally correct ass games with ourselves, man. No, bro. Tank this shit out, man, like the no limit tank, bro. Get inside that tank, fire that hoe up, boom. You know, tanks be cold. You gotta warm tanks up.
Yeah, you gotta let it run for a
Yeah.
little bit. Let it run.
Come on, AD. Teach these boys to know how to tank when to know how to tank. Your mama ever
Man.
told you, boy, get in the house? He done whooped your ass twice. Get on in the house. You don't need to be going out there taking no more ass whoopers. Go on, get in the house. You couldn't beat them anyway. Shit. Man, we want to go back out there and get swole back up. Come on, man.
At the end of the day, man, like I said,
Whew.
we almost at the end.
Whew.
And to me, I think when the season is over with, the fun just begins because
Yes.
there's so much more that we can do in
Yeah.
store. I
Yes.
mean, we got a couple special episodes
Ooh.
coming. We got some guys that y'all all are familiar with that are coming on after the
If we,
season.
I tell you what, AD, if we lose these last two games, I'll buy the first goddamn call of Davis Mills jersey. You get you a whole Davis Mills jersey. I'll take it up there and try to get them to sign that Joker.
Hey,
Just
so
lose the last two. Tell them
we
about
are,
tell them about the guests that we having, man. We having some nice guests on, man. We just
yeah,
getting crunk, man, and we just getting going. Tell them
you
about the
know.
guests, AD.
I'm not gonna tell him. I'm not gonna tell him. I'm just gonna have to wait and see. But
Okay.
we are gonna do some live episodes, especially when it comes to the draft breakdown
Yes,
and these
sir.
player and these games. We're gonna have because I want to be interactive with the fans. Not I don't want to call them. Let me not do that. I don't want to call nobody no fans, but the Texans,
The Texan viewers, man, the viewers.
our supporters and Texan fans, can put have their input and their voice heard with B.O.P. If as you've seen these last few weeks, we've had a myriad of guests. Whether it
Myriad.
be
That boy said myriad, y'all. We
big
had a
word, big
myriad.
word.
Yeah,
We've had
a
Bishop, we've
plethora.
had a plethora. We've had the likes of Bishop. We've had
That
Tony
he ain't no
Snow.
special guest.
But I'm
Bishop
just
ain't.
saying.
Hold on, bro. I know you ain't just call Bishop no special guest on the pod. Bishop be on every spaces that we've ever had, saying some crazy ass. Come on, all right, Bishop, man. What's up? You got to come back on now.
So like I said, we've had all of the guys. We're trying to get the other crew in. We're trying to get Swan. We're trying to get a lot of these Texan faithful in, man. That really with B.O.P. Like I said, I want to make it where everybody has a voice. Everybody has an
Yes.
opportunity to be a part. This is
Yes.
not mine, or
Yes.
this is not in something
Yes.
that is only
It's
in the
all. It's it's like Debo say. It's all of our bike.
yeah, man. This
You
is community
know,
property.
it's
This
community property,
community
man.
property, man. We
It's
really
like it's
trying
both
to
of ours.
yeah, we trying to let everybody have a voice, man, and that's the whole point of B.O.P. So
Yeah,
we like I said, we got special guests coming in. You
that's
know,
right.
the guys that y'all have seen on Twitter, guys that y'all have watched their shows, watched their own podcasts that they do on a weekly basis. They're going to
Yeah,
be
man.
joining us
Yeah,
in the upcoming weeks, especially after the season. So just be on the lookout. Like I said, I always preference it. We coming in. If you notice that the basketball division has taken off, the guys over there, Preston, Drip God and Coach Dante and Pastor and all of those
that's
guys
right.
have come on with the basketball side and they've been talking Houston Rockets. You see they're
They
posting,
got some good content over there,
they
baby.
got good content. They've been posting, man. They've been getting,
B.O.P.
B.O.P. is spreading. And soon as March and April roll around, we're gonna have another
That's
division with the
right.
baseball. So,
Yeah,
you know,
shout out to my boy Sarge, man.
yeah.
Shout out to my boy Leo.
Mm-hmm.
Shout out to some of my guys. Swan. Shout out to Swan, man.
Mm-hmm.
Mike. What's up, Mike? Shout out to you, man. Both the mics, man.
Mike G and White Mike.
Mike
Mike
G and White Mike,
G.
man. Shout out to you boys, man. Swan.
you
Who else
know,
on there?
look,
Barrett. Barrett, what's up, B?
look.
Holla at you, man. Hold it down, baby. Hold it
Look,
down.
I'm a shout out. I'm a shout out V. I'm a shout
V.
out. I'm a shout out V. Who's doing?
Me and V don't win at it, boy. Shout out to you, V.
So shout out to V and the Texan Fan Battle podcast. They doing
Shout
their
out, hold on,
thing.
I got another shout out, a couple more. Shout out to Larry from Stafford,
Larry
man.
from Stafford.
Holla
There
at
we
your
go.
boy, man. You keep us
Yeah.
busy every morning, man. Good content on the radio,
shout,
man. Shout
shout
out to all his haters.
Yeah, shout out
Shout
to hold on. Shout out to Kilo. Shout out to Toro.
Kilo.
Shout out to
Kilo,
Noah.
shout out to Kilo. Noah.
Noah,
Yeah,
HT,
man. My
Toro.
boys, man. We've been
All
boys for a
all the
long
guys
time,
on
man.
everybody that makes Texans
Yes.
Twitter as
Go. Yes.
entertaining as it
Yes.
is,
The
and
whole year.
the whole
We
year.
started off as family, and we're gonna end up as family, man.
Yeah,
We just been in, we done threw a few elbows and uppercuts and some sneak attacks and all that, but we still in the HT.
right.
What's up, HT, man?
Shout out to
Your boy, man.
Bab and who were
Bad,
rich,
man.
so hey, all of these
What up, Big Corey?
Big Corey, forgot
Yeah,
about Big
throw
Corey.
me down, man. It's New Year's Eve. We need a new recipe, man. What's the deal? Holla at your boy, man.
So like I said, all of these guys, all of these people, I won't say guys because Swan included, even Lindsay. Let's shout out
Lindsay.
Everybody. We going into the new year.
She's our insider, man. She's
insider,
the insider.
Lindsay.
Yeah,
who,
man.
She'll probably lead our Astros podcast. So
that's right. That's right.
So just so y'all, know, we want to shout y'all out. We are in the holidays. We are going into the new year. We want to, sincerely say happy holidays, Merry Christmas from B.O.P. and a happy New Year. This episode will be posted before the new year, but we probably won't see you guys, or you probably won't hear from us until 2023 when we talk about this Jaguars game and we go on into the final game of the season. We talk about the Colts and the season overview. But we B.O.P. sincerely, wishes everyone a happy holidays. Please be safe. Please be safe. Do not be like Jason Pierre-Paul. Do not be like Jason Pierre-Paul with them fireworks on New Year's Day.
Yeah, don't lose no fingers, man.
Don't lose no fingers.
No fingers. Don't lose no fingers, man.
So we ask everybody to be safe, and we all want to see y'all on the other side of 2023, man.
Yeah. Shout out to Cal McNair, man.
Cal McNair, man. Janice McNair, the whole McNair family.
Janice McNair, man.
Nick Casario, shout out Nick Casario.
Yeah, Nick Casario, man.
We give all these things, man, and we want to say thank you guys for supporting B.O.P. Thank you guys for watching these episodes. This is a little bit longer episode. Thank you for being along for the ride this whole episode. And thank you for supporting us in the future, and be on the lookout, man. Like at the bottom it says, please like, share, and subscribe. You got the Black On Podcast Twitter handle, mine, C-Roll, and Jules included. We want to thank you guys for joining in. This has been another episode of B.O.P. This is your boy AD and C-Roll signing off until the new year.
See you next year, man. Yeah.
Peace.